Hello, 601 students. This is my fourth try at recording feedback on the SCA Baker assignments. Hopefully there's sound on this one, and hopefully I remember what I wanted to say, but I'm sure I will. So I have graded all of your SEA Baker assignments. If I could get your file to open, there's at least one person whose file did not open, and I left you notes saying that in either the grade book or in the discussion board. You'll find feedback in two places. There is some feedback in a response to your initial discussion board posts. And then in some cases, I have also provided feedback in the Grade Center, or instead of in the discussion board form, I've provided feedback in the Grade Center. So you may have it in one or both of those places. In the Grade Center, in some cases, I've also uploaded like a tracked changes document. If I found some things in your Word document, it was easier for me to just make a comment or do a track change, then I did that as well. So you see a wide variety of different types of feedback, but everybody will have specific feedback to their own SEA Baker assignments. This feedback is to kind of give you an overview of some things that I noticed across everybody's paper, as well as some reminders to keep in mind for your critiques, which are due coming up shortly. So just thinking in general, with writing mechanics APA format, you'll hear me talk about APA format all year long, all semester long, every time you see me. Maybe not if we're like out and about at the grocery store, but talking about APA format, when you are writing your papers and you're referring to an article, you only need to provide the author's last name and the date in parentheses. So you don't need to say Baker 2016 article, blah, 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 with the title of the article. You don't need to say Northhouse 2016 in the introduction in the leadership theory book. You don't have to say all that information. You just need to provide me with the author's last name and the date. And that's really what you're going to find throughout most of your work, is that in very rare cases will you actually give me the full name of the author. For example, if you're doing Martin Luther King Jr., you might do that. Or if you have authors with the same name, same last name, you may provide the first name, but then in that case only probably if their articles are written at different dates, because all I have to do is go to your citation list and see that Smith 2016 is Betty Smith and Smith 2012 is George Smith. So and also, similarly, we don't really use the title of the works unless they're seminal works. So you might say in his I Have a Dream speech, instead of saying Martin Luther King Jr. with the date of the speech, because you want to make sure we reference that thing that everybody knows, which is the I Have a Dream speech. There are many errors in your APA citations at the end of those papers. Some of them are really minor, but they're still important. So I need you to practice, 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 check the book, look it over, review it, and don't rely on your EndNote or other ref notes or other software that you're using to compile your bibliography. You should still go back and double check all of those, because they don't necessarily have every period in the right place either. Also, almost everybody did secondary citations wrong. A secondary citation is when Northhouse refers to cats, and Northhouse read cats, but you didn't read cats, you read Northhouse. So the primary source is Northhouse. The secondary source is cats. And so when Northhouse was reading it, cats was a primary source. But for you, you haven't read it. So if you haven't read it, it should not say cats with parentheses, the date 2012. Should not say that in your paper, because if you put cats with parentheses 2012, I think you read cats. And if you haven't, then you're misrepresenting what you're putting in your paper. So then you would say cats, parentheses, as cited by Northhouse, comma, 2016, end parentheses, stated that, blah, 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 blah. So check rules for secondary citations. You can go to the index of the APA book. You can also Google APA Purdue OWL secondary citations, and you should find that information. So make sure you're using that correctly. And then please just proofread before you submit. There are some very basic errors. Run spell check, and yes, I know spell check is annoying because it picks things that aren't really wrong. Microsoft Word's grammar is not really the grammar that we like to write in. I got it. But still, please proofread, please grammar, spell check, please check before you hit submit. So now for the content piece, what I do want to share with you and talk about are specific to the summary and evaluation sections. The summary section is really the least important part of your critique. You should work on the assumption that I have read your paper, the article that you're critiquing. and that all your readers have read the article you're critiquing. So this, and if they haven't, then your summary gives them just enough detail to really truly understand what the article is all about. And then they really want to skip to the good stuff, which is, what do you think about it? How was it written? Is it well supported? Is the argument clear? Does the argument contradict itself? There's all kinds of things that are going on there. And then why is this important? That's the application piece. So summary is the least important, and it should be concise and clear, truly summarizing, not providing all the details, and also should be the shortest part of your paper. So if you go back and look at yours and your summary goes on for 2/3 and then you've got the last third that you're talking about evaluation and application, then you've done too much summary and not enough evaluation and application. The purpose of these assignments is to critique that evaluation section, to critique and apply, so that evaluation section should be really strong and the application should be clear. Regarding the evaluation, please be specific. Use terms that are truly terms of critique. So the author supported her argument by providing references to a wide range of literature. It seems like no stone was left unturned, and she did a comprehensive search of whatever the case may be. The author claims that, and I don't believe that claim was supported with enough evidence. I would like to have seen her provide more content in why. The article was confusing in its organization as she jumped around from topic to topic, and I wasn't quite sure what her main themes and ideas were. These are evaluation statements. So you want to use as many of those as possible. And I have provided you some examples below, which I'll talk about in just a second. So, and then application, for the most part, was very strong. Just again, making sure that you're referring to how the article you read applies in your real life professional context or the professional context of others. You can also make connections to Northhouse, to other pieces that we're reading, to works you're reading, your other classes, and some of you did that really well throughout as well. So there are quite a few of you who did a really bang-up job on this first little assignment, and I appreciate that. I did just identify 4 specific ones that you might want to look at if you want to kind of see how other people have approached this assignment that I thought were very solid. So Paige and Brian as an overall, but just kind of overall approach to the critique from all pieces, the summary, evaluation, the application. Garrett, especially with the organization of the evaluation section. So Garrett took kind of the main points and went point by point and explained that in his evaluation section, which I thought was well organized and made that section easier to read. And then Nicole did an interesting thing where she mixed the evaluation and the application. So with each statement of evaluation, she applied and talked about how that applied to her professional context or the professional context of others at the same time, rather than separating it. It's perfectly fine to stick to summary, evaluation, application in separate sections, but you can mix it. Just be careful that you're not mixing it and then diluting your evaluation. And Nicole did a good job of mixing and making both sections still clear. So if you have questions about your feedback individually or about this group feedback, please don't hesitate to let me know. And I will be happy to kind of give you more detail, talk with you through your individual paper, whatever is necessary so that you're successful with the critique. Hope you have a good weekend, and I will talk to you soon.